Hello and welcome to the 9th installment of the Energy Astrology mini-series. The last installment covered Romance Day. This installment will have a closer look at Problem-Solving Day. Saturday, Saturnisdag, is the day of Saturn. In Tarot, the patron of Saturday is the Skill or World card. Saturn is the personification of a force that produces forms, inertia, and spheres. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, the Devil Adversity card, and shares the rulership of Aquarius, the Star or Revelation card, with Uranus, the Fool or Spirit card. Hence, Aquarians and Capricornians are usually good at handling limitations and resistance. The Saturnian root force is formation. Formation produces boundaries, structure, and limitations. Astrology calls Saturn the Great Limiter. Forms are essential to existence. Without formation, the universe would be just a huge mush. For instance, Saturn turns energy into visible matter. According to Carlos Castaneda, it is the most mysterious force. Quote, Don Juan had explained that the body and the energy body were two conglomerates of energy fields compressed together by some strange agglutinating force. He had emphasized to no end that the force that binds that group of energy fields together was, according to the sorcerers of ancient Mexico, the most mysterious force in the universe. His personal estimation was that it was the pure essence of the entire cosmos, the sum total of everything there is. After the Big Bang, the state of the universe was a vibratory chaos. Then formation began, which assembled chaotic vibes through gravitation to invisible forms into microcosmic and macrocosmic patterns. The agent of that formation is rhythm. Helium and hydrogen emerged through the rhythmic movements of subnuclear particles. From this point on, the universe evolved through increasingly complex rhythms, which produced increasingly complex forms, with biological forms as the apex. For this reason, the Greeks believed that Kronos, the Greek Saturn, could hear the faint rhythms of the cosmos. On the Tree of Life, Saturn governs the third sphere, understanding. Understanding can't happen in a vacuum and always relates to a context. There are two types of understanding. The first is understanding context. The second is defining context, for example, understanding the circumstances in which a business could thrive. From the third sphere emerges the path of influence, which is connected to the Hebrew letter chet, which means field or fence. Through the influence path, Saturn establishes contexts which exist in enclosures. Examples of such contexts are physics, biology, and society. The path of influence establishes the fourth sphere on the Tree of Life, which is the sphere of law and necessity, which manifests through karma. Not surprisingly, we find Saturn exalted in Libra, which is connected to the karma card. Laws determine what happens within contexts, like the laws of physics determine what happens in the field of physics. The Saturn force also forms thoughts, desires, and imaginings in the field of the mind. The influence card shows the various sections of human personality. The rider signifies the higher self, the chariot symbolizes the body-mind-soul vehicle, the horses stand for the senses, and the invisible reins represent the mind. As strange as it sounds, we evolve through the restrictive Saturnian force. We do so by upgrading the vibes of the different fields of personality, for instance, the vibrations of the mind. If we increase the vibrations of our minds will drop cruder forms of consciousness, which is liberating and transformative. Chanting and dancing, rhythmic words and movements, help upgrade mental vibes. Since ancient times, people have practiced chanting and dancing in their temples. Forms resist and produce inertia. In the cube of space, the world or skill card resides at the center. The center produces gravity, which is a source of inertia. Resistance is one root of adversity. We don't like resistance. Some Indians use Saturn as a curse word. In the West, we also like to swear at things and situations which resist us, like a sharp stone we step on, the tax form we need to fill in, and the complexity of relationshiping. The seventh day of creation, Shabbat, allegorizes the principle of inertia. It is the day of rest, the last creative phase when Elohim completed creating and forms emerged. Yes, the Shabbat is Saturday, and Christianity got it wrong. On a side note, Elohim is the god name of the third sphere on the tree of life in which Saturn operates. Everything that happens to us is either a blessing or a lesson. Adversity teaches us that which works and that which doesn't. Saturn is the unpleasant teacher, the stone refused by the builder that becomes the cornerstone of the temple. We evolve through sharpening our wits. We begin with black and white thinking in a certain domain and develop our understanding by discerning the gray shades. A Greek shepherd once met Kronos and asked him why his sickle had such a narrow blade. Kronos answered, "Truth needs a narrow cut." A poor potter once complained to Shani, the Hindu Saturn, about his hard life. Shani appeared in his dream and said, "I take nothing from you. I only show you what lies in the shadow." The next morning, the potter noticed his broken kiln. He understood that his hardship didn't come from Shani, but from neglect, and he rebuilt his kiln. His production improved, and he prospered. The same applies to the Jungian shadow. Sometimes adversity turns out a blessing in disguise. Once, a farmer took his produce to town when the wheel of his cart broke. He cursed Shani for his fate. That night, he dreamt of Shani, who told him the wheel broke, so you would not fall to your death. The farmer checked the road and found a hidden ravine a short distance from where his wheel broke. Whenever you encounter resistance, be it a natural law, a law of physics, or social law, you encounter a Saturnian force. Karma expresses the Saturnian force, a form responding to your actions. Challenges and adversities are opportunities to learn and develop skills. That's why the world or skill card shows a dancer. A dancer, like every other artist, cultivates his craft through discipline. Craft develops through discipline and repetitive actions. The dancer in the picture symbolizes the perfection of a skill. Resistance has two sides. It resists and it prolongs. For instance, a business may struggle with the resistance of the market it wants to introduce a new product to. But once it established a market share, the same resistance will prolong its success. We like to call resistance adversity. Mind that Saturn rules Capricorn, which is associated with the adversity card. But adversity is always a blessing in disguise. If you face resistance, remember that the same force that resists your efforts will, once you succeed, maintain your success. The resistance of a form serves us until we outgrow its beneficence and it needs renewal. Renewal is the ancient epithet of the adversity card. Adversity emerges when a form has become tyrannical, offering resistance without benefit. Like an old map that needs updating, or rules that parents give their children to protect them, which become tyrannical once the children outgrow that particular need of protection. The bondage to old forms induces us to fight that bondage, which leads to renewal or disruption. For instance, in 1968, French students protested against the strict rules, rigid structures, and outdated curricula of French universities. This protest sparked a national renewal that reshaped French education. Hence, Saturday is the perfect day to fix tedious issues. Overcome the procrastinator in you, but don't do professional work. Why don't you solve all those little private problems that vexed you during the week and that you kept postponing? Fix the leaking tap in the bathroom, do your tax declaration, oil your daughter's bicycle chain, wash your car, and cut the lawn. This is liberating. The skill card shows a perfected state of mind, cosmic consciousness. The figure is the higher self, merged with personality, dancing to the music of the spheres. All people who have a strong Saturn in their astrological chart, like Capricorns and Aquarians, may tend towards perfectionism. Hence, Saturday is a great day to perfect an undertaking. Saturn allows you to go the last mile and beyond. Dominion and slavery is the pair of opposites attributed to the skill card. Understanding the necessity of a particular form is the secret of dominion. Misunderstanding a form causes failure and slavery to circumstances. He who wants to rule nature must obey her laws. What is technology but the obeyance of the rules of physics and biology? Out of the ability to understand forms and utilize their respective laws emerges the ability to administer one's incarnation. Administrative intelligence is the mode of consciousness attributed to the skill card. The Hebrew letter Tav, which is attributed to the skill card, means sign or signature. This letter suggests a guarantee, a pledge, or a sign of quality. The signature makes business instruments valid. A signature dish is a perfected dish. The wreath in the picture continues this line of thought. It has 3 times 22 leaves. The 22 leaves represent the natural forces of the major arcana. They are threefold because they signify the balancing of their opposite expressions, bringing forth the third. Hence, the wreath symbolizes complete mastership over the 22 basic forces of consciousness. You may know Saturn as the god of time. Time is the most fierce limitation. $1 million can't buy a nanosecond. While incarnate, we are bound to time. That's where the myth that Saturn swallows its children comes from. Time gives birth to things, but it also ends things. Saturn teaches us time management and timing. The Romans picture Saturn as an old ruler with a scythe and seed grain. He walked through villages and fields and showed farmers the right time for sowing and harvest. The skill card has an interesting connection to the cycles card. Mind the similarities. Both show 4 creatures in their 4 corners. According to Paul Foster Case, the violet veil of the dancer in the skill card symbolizes the cycles card. It has the shape of the letter Kaf, which belongs to the cycles card. The cyclic progression of time veils the eternal reality of rhythm. Jupiter is associated with the cycles card. According to ancient myth, Jupiter escaped the fate of being eaten by Saturn. The Wheel of Fortune shows the secret of involution, evolution, and timing, which is the rulership of over the Saturnian force. One of the most important applications is the knowledge of the 4 seasons, the 4 creatures, which forms the basis of agriculture. The Greeks said Kronos never moved fast. He took 12 steps, 12 zodiac signs, for a day and 12 for a night. A student once asked Kronos why he never hurried. Kronos asked, "Those who run overrun fate. Those who walk meet it." Accordingly, Kronos is the teacher of measure and rhythmic development. One purpose of karma is to put us in situations where we learn empathy. For instance, we need to lose our jobs to learn empathy for the unemployed. We need to get sick to learn empathy for the ill. We need to live in another country to learn empathy for strangers. During the Saturnian festivals, Romans said Saturn returned for one day to upend and reverse the order of society. Masters served servants, and servants took the place of their masters. What is the transmigration of soul but learning about life from myriad angles? I hope you enjoyed this installment of the Energy Astrology mini-series and discovered an inspiration or two. The following installment will cover Sunshine Day. Please help to spread the light with a like and a share. And don't forget to subscribe. Love and light.